Why the U.S. can't stop de-dollarization, the weaponization boomerang effect. What if the most powerful weapon in America's arsenal is also the reason it's slowly losing power? For decades, the U.S. dollar has ruled the global economy. Oil? Dollars. Trade? Dollars. Debt? Definitely dollars. But today, more countries than ever are trying to break free. So here's the big question. Why can't the United States stop de-dollarization, even though it benefits the most from the dollar's dominance? The answer lies in something called the weaponization boomerang effect. Let's break it down. The dollar empire. After World War II, the U.S. dollar became the backbone of the global financial system. Institutions like the IMF and the World Bank were built around it. Because the dollar dominates global trade, international banking, and energy markets, the United States gained enormous power. And not just economic power, political power. If a country steps out of line, the U.S. can freeze its dollar reserves, block access to global banking, cut it off from international trade. This entire system runs through payment networks like SWIFT. For years, it worked flawlessly. Until it didn't. When money becomes a weapon. Sanctions became America's go-to weapon. Countries like Iran and Venezuela were hit hard. But the real turning point came with Russia. When hundreds of billions of dollars in Russian reserves were frozen, a message echoed across the world. Your money isn't really yours if it's held in dollars. That's when governments everywhere started asking a dangerous question. Why keep our national savings in a system that can be turned against us overnight? The boomerang effect. Here's the irony. The more the U.S. weaponizes the dollar, the more it pushes countries away from it. That's the boomerang effect. Instead of submission, sanctions triggered alternative payment systems, local currency trade deals, massive gold accumulation, and bilateral swaps that bypass the dollar. Countries didn't abandon the dollar overnight. They quietly reduced dependence. And that leads to the next problem. The world is building escape routes. Major economies are preparing Plan B. China is settling trade in yuan. India is paying for oil in rupees. And the BRICS nations are openly discussing non-dollar trade frameworks. These systems don't need to replace the dollar. They just need to exist. Because once alternatives are available, the dollar loses its monopoly power. Why the U.S. can't just stop it? So why can't the United States shut this down? Because you can't force trust, only earn it. Reversing sanctions weakens U.S. credibility. Using the dollar less aggressively means giving up leverage. It's a trap. If the U.S. keeps weaponizing the dollar, de-dollarization accelerates. If it stops, it loses one of its strongest tools. That's the boomerang. De-dollarization isn't about the dollar collapsing tomorrow. It's about countries quietly preparing for a world where money is less political and power is more multipolar. And the real twist is the very power that made the dollar dominant is now the reason nations are learning how to live without it. If you found this breakdown useful, like, subscribe, and comment below.